Hey everyone, welcome to Garage Football. We've just watched the Carabao Cup Final. Here's our post-match review. Well, though, we finished 0-0. Went to extra time and penalties, but it was a really good game, I thought.
Yeah, exciting. Yeah, it had some end-to-end stuff, wasn't it? They had a lot of momentum changes throughout the game as well. Obviously City started strong. Yeah. Chelsea sort of picked up, recovered, sort of showed some maturity in their performance compared to their last thrashing.
Couldn't get any worse, could it?
No, exactly. It's a little bit of controversy in there as well to keep it exciting towards the end of the game, with the whole Kepa situation, which we'll get onto. But yeah, no, really, really good game. Good afternoon for football all round.
Yeah, I mean, it was, as you say, it was 0-0, but there was plenty of incidents throughout the 90 minutes and extra time, and obviously the penalties as well. So Chelsea playing a traditional Sarri 4-3-3, but made a couple of changes where Hazard was playing on his own in a false nine role, and Barkley was playing alongside Kante and Jorginho. But they looked so much more disciplined than they were in that game a couple of weeks ago at the Etihad. They didn't press as high up, did they?
No.
They sort of let Man City have the ball at the back. They weren't committing too many players forward, because in the game away at City, they were just carved open. The ball was into the City's front players regularly, whereas that wasn't really the case today, was it?
No, and you mentioned as well when we were watching the game as well how tightly together Barkley and Jorginho was sitting together as well.
And Kante as well.
And Kante, yeah.
All three of them were close together, because there's been times in these last few weeks where Jorginho's been isolated and the opposition just targeted him and ran off him as well, but that wasn't really the case today.
They dropped back, didn't they, a lot? They were almost at some point sitting at centre-back as well when they were playing out from the back a couple of times as well. They were sitting pretty deep.
So. And they were pretty narrow as well, so they were letting, especially in that first half, they were letting City go out wide. But whenever City did put some crosses in, Rudiger and Luiz were just winning headers for fun, because Aguero and Sterling not going to win many headers, are they?
No. They looked, again, it's not often that you sort of give Luiz a lot of praise in recent times, but yeah, he did really well.
Yeah, and Rudiger was very dominating as well.
Yeah, he looked like that sort of more of a captain material, didn't he? A bit more of a leader in there as well. He looked sort of strong. He looked like he was commanding discipline as well, so that was really good.
And they're getting good blocks in as well, and Kepa was catching well from crosses as well. So City weren't really getting their patterns of play in and around the box like they usually do. Chelsea were back in numbers as well, and because they weren't pressing from the front, they were able to get back into their shape pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And City weren't moving the ball as quick as and precise as they usually can do.
Yeah.
So that meant in the first 20 odd minutes there weren't many chances for either team. And first major chance of the game was Bernardo Silva. He crossed the ball in from the right hand side and ended up with Aguero at the far post, and he chested it, cut inside Azpilicueta, and the form he's been in, you would have fancied him to at least get on target, but he blasted it over. Yeah,
it was just a bit of a shock, wasn't it? You sort of thought he put that away, but yeah, I mean, he was, what I liked about him in this game is the way he was sort of, as they were building up in that first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, he was chasing down second balls. When Chelsea were playing it back towards the keeper, he was after the balls. He looked hungry, didn't he? He looked like he wanted to keep that up. So, like you say, you would have expected him to score that.
But no, for City he didn't. But towards the end of the first half, while Chelsea didn't create many chances, they were getting more of a foothold in the game. And Hazard, he's not a fan of playing the false nine role. I think he said it publicly, but he performed admirably throughout the game and made some great runs. But he was often isolated. Like his fellow Chelsea teammates were far away from him.
Yeah, like you say, he's not a hold-up player, is he? He's not Giroud or that type of sort of big 6-foot hulking.
But he was making some great dribbles.
Yeah.
And he was getting into good positions, but he had no one to support him.
Yeah, there was a lot of times, wasn't there, where he'd make good runs, he'd get to space or near the wings, and there was just nothing there for him to play onto.
Yeah, so half time, 0-0. One thing that I noticed that I'm sure you noticed as well was that Kevin De Bruyne was not really around Chelsea's penalty area, was he?
No.
He was dropping deep quite a lot, and that's where, he's got fantastic delivery, but you want him as far away from your goal as possible, really.
Yeah, he doesn't look himself when he's in that role, does he?
No.
Not putting on, like obviously, like you say, he can't when he's that far back, but he's not really putting anything on. It was more sort of Silva and players like that, wasn't it? That was obviously a bit more of that.
Not Bernardo Silva,
Yeah.
even David Silva was quite quiet today.
Yeah.
So it's more Sterling and Bernardo Silva the ones who were threatening.
Yeah, down that left-hand side when Sterling was playing there, because he switched later to the right, didn't he, when they made some subs. But earlier on, most of the traffic was going down that left-hand side of the pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah, Zinchenko was making those overlapping runs.
Yeah, he played well as well.
So he played pretty good. So 0-0 half-time, as I say, and then Chelsea really grew into it in the second half, and arguably, even though they had less of the ball, had more of the killer chances.
Yeah.
Better team.
Yeah.
Had more of the bigger chances.
Yeah, definitely. They looked like they grew in confidence, didn't they? I think when they realised that City weren't sort of as dominant as they were in that first game.
Playing into their best that they can do.
Yeah, and let's say Aguero sort of grew frustrated, didn't he, as the game went on as well? Like he didn't look the same sort of himself. He was still hunting balls, but wasn't getting much or putting anything away. But yeah, Chelsea definitely grew in confidence, and as the game went on, they looked like they were thinking, actually, we could probably snatch this. You know, with Hazard running up, and obviously he had Pedro and support on one side, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, I mean, midway through the second half at 65 minutes, great ball by Willian, because they were looking for that ball in behind, weren't they? All the time, Hazard was always on the shoulder of the last defender. I mean, Company come on at half time.
Yeah.
For Laporte, who I think picked up a hamstring injury, and he was just targeting.
So much quicker, isn't he? Like he knows he can get past him comfortably.
And obviously, City's fullbacks are high and wide, Walker and Zinchenko. So it was just Company and Otamendi against Hazard at one point. So Willian played the ball in down the left-hand side, and Hazard got there, took it past Company easily, and he's waiting for support, dragged it back, fizzed it across to
Pedro.
To N'Golo Kante, and probably would have wanted Pedro running in or like Higuain or Giroud if they came on, but failed to the play. You don't really want it to go to Kante. He hit over. It was a great run by Hazard,
Yeah, he created a lot, didn't he? He was the one player who was the source of most of their creativity. I think they won it back well in midfield, Chelsea, a lot of the time. But he was the main focal point, wasn't he? Creating chances, making things happen, drawing players to him, creating space for the other players when anyone was actually near the box. Yeah.
Well, it's no coincidence when Hazard plays a great game that Chelsea played pretty well as well. He was immense today. And then Ross Barkley had a shot about 5 minutes later where he tried to find the top corner, but that went over. But as you say, Chelsea just grew in confidence and were trying things on the ball and making overlapping runs like the fullbacks were, like Aspilicueta and Emerson. And recycling the ball in midfield. But Jorginho's good at that when he's got options around him, and they did have options. He had Kante, Barkley near him. He was passing it around the defence as well. So they weren't just waiting for moments, they were controlling possession at times as well. When City just fell off slightly. Yeah,
and I'm interested to see what you think about how the subs made a change in the game, because obviously not long after that they brought on Hudson-Odoi for Pedro and they brought on Loftus-Cheek. And they seem to make a big difference to me. I wonder what you think about that.
Yeah, I think they did. I think they both wanted the ball. They're both very positive. Two youngsters who haven't really played a lot under Sarri this season at all. Particularly Hudson-Odoi, who's obviously big talent. Obviously, Bayern Munich want him, so they don't want any rubbish players, do they? They want really, really good players. So Loftus-Cheek had a good World Cup with England again. He's hardly featured, apart from maybe the Europa League. So to both come on in this final, I think they made a difference.
Strong, powerful. They both are, and they both want it. They both want to run. I like the fact that Loftus-Cheek drives from midfield as well. He kind of creates space and makes people move, which.
Yeah, definitely. And Hudson-Odoi was always running out defence as well, and got some fouls in as well, which obviously relieved Chelsea's defence after like City were having a lot of the ball, weren't they, as well? So that big chance that Pedro had, 15 minutes from time, great play by Hazard. He ran from the left-hand side, ran through the middle of the defence, past Otamendi, slid in Pedro, Pedro shoot.
You
got to shoot. And then
Tried to cut it back.
Maybe lacking in confidence. I don't know what it is. He tried to find maybe Hazard or one of his teammates. Just got to shoot.
Yeah.
You
think he's in a good position, isn't he? He's pacey. He had that corner of that left-hand corner of Ederson's goal there for him, and
it's a free shot. Just go for it. You got players running in as well. If Ederson powers it or
there's people to jump back on that.
So
do you think it's lack of confidence, or do you think it's sort of lack of greediness?
Well, I think. Maybe it's I think Pedro played okay today, but it wasn't at his best. So
Hudson-Odoi was a lot better when he came on.
I thought so as well. Yeah. I think Willian looked better than what he has been as well.
Yeah.
Speaking of one of the subs, right at the end of the game, stoppage time, in the 90 minutes, Loftus-Cheek, great turn, ball come in, didn't he? Just turned, swiveled, fantastic first time ball to Hazard, and here we go, VAR, controversy again. Now, the linesman's put his flag up, which, when it's contentious offsides, they should really try and let the play go. And it turns out that Hazard looks to be level.
Do you think, was the flag a little bit late as well? Or do you think it came up at the right time?
I think if it came up early.
Yeah.
I think it happened during the World Cup where the linesmen were instructed to keep the flag down, let the play continue, in case there was a goal or a shot or something. Right. I'm not sure whether that's the same in this country now, but you'd like to think he should have kept his flag down because Hazard was in. He was in on goal, let the play happen, let him score, take a shot or whatever, and then take it back to
VAR. Because he was in, he probably would have buried that, right?
Yeah, he probably would have done. So but anyway, in any case, he was onside.
Yeah,
so,
controversial again.
And
Aguero had a similar disallowed goal, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, but that was definitely offside.
No controversy there.
Yeah, about that. So 0-0 at full time, and extra times where it really kicks off.
Yeah.
For the wrong reasons.
Yeah, the juicy part of the game.
But before we get to that quickly, Raheem Sterling, this is in the second half of extra time. Raheem Sterling, he switched, as you mentioned earlier, to the right hand side. Great play. And he got to the byline and cut it back to Aguero, and he took a shot. It was great, blocked by Azpilicueta, and I think Kepa followed up as well. I think he got some cramp after that as well.
Yeah, that seemed to start the rest of the sort of controversial part of the game, right? That cramp seemed to start off a whole other sort of bit of confusion, which I'm sure we'll get to. But good save, and like you say, he seemed to like it as if he pulled something, didn't he? Originally, you weren't sure if it was cramp, but it looks like cramp, obviously in hindsight. But at the time, you weren't sure if he pulled a muscle or something, were you?
Yeah, exactly. And then must have been about 5 minutes before the end of extra time, about 26 minutes. Aguero had another shot. He probably could have slid in the third in, I think.
Yep.
But it was well held by Kepa.
Yeah, he looked like he pulled something again at that point, right?
Yeah, there was a bit of confusion, wasn't there? This is the big talking point now, which we talked about for a few days now. You like the things. Now it looked like he had maybe cramp or something, and I think Willy Cabrera was warming up.
Yeah. The
Chelsea reserve goalkeeper, and then you saw like the rest of the stuff, like Pedro's like, "Come on, you can do this." Or whatever he said. You think, they're going to make us up now because you want your goalkeeper.
You're fired up.
That, but you want them fully fit as well. If you want them to dive, make saves, you don't want one with cramp, do you?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not, not going to. Unless it's straight out, you're not going to save anything, are you?
And would one good argument be obviously Caballero being successful for City in cup finals before,
exactly.
But also knowing the players, training with them week in, week out for years.
That's great point. And as you say, he's had great success in this competition as well. For City, he's been the hero in shootouts before for him. So as you say, he's the players. So I think, and we've seen it before, like where subs for goalkeepers are made during extra time or just before the shootouts, where 2014 the World Cup, like Louis van Gaal for Netherlands made that sub bringing Tim Krul on, and he was the hero. So
You don't know. It could have gone either way, couldn't it? He could have brought Caballero on, and it didn't make a difference, or he could have kept Kepa or took Kepa off. Or it could have, There's always a what if with those moments, isn't there?
Well, I think there still is a what if with what happened. I mean, let's just go through what happened. So, as we mentioned, it looked like Kepa had some cramp.
Maybe hamstring, something. You're not sure. Yeah.
And Caballero was warming up.
Yeah.
And it looked like the sub was about to be made, and then Kepa's going like that.
No face, no Maurizio.
But even it was so surreal, wasn't it? Because they had the numbers on the electronic board.
Yeah, he refused to come off and be subbed, and kept basically refusing, telling Caballero to stay there. I'm all right, I'm fine. Tell the manager. He's telling Sarri and Zola, who both didn't seem happy at all.
No, they were, understatement.
Yeah, I thought Sarri at first looked a bit more confused than anything, but Zola was looking like he was losing it a bit, and even Luiz looked like he came to come over and tell him, "Look, come on, move it off, move off." And then obviously the ref, didn't he? He actually went to the touchline to see what was happening.
Yeah.
And then Sarri sort of went, "No, it's okay, keep him on." Seemingly like the player sort of won that battle in some sense. Sarri sort of looked like he threw his notepads down and was sort of walking towards the tunnel, wasn't he? He sort of started down the tunnel and sort of came back and regained his composure. But I mean, what do you think what sort of precedent that sets for any club? Because I know obviously we were talking that Kepa's not a small-time player. He's the most expensive keeper ever. He's their number one. Do you go down a similar route like they did with Costa, who was their star striker, and benching him, to sort of remind the players of an order of things, or do they go, well, we spent this much money, we've got to let him do whatever he wants, and the rest of the players? I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think
they should do
before we get to what they should do. I think it was an absolute disgrace by Kepa. So unprofessional. I know, it's the final. You don't want to go off, and that's great that he doesn't want to come off. But if the sub's been made and your manager's made the sub, you've got to come off. Just come off.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgraceful. If you're Maurizio Sarri and the coaching staff, you can't blame them for getting angry.
Do you think that shows an insight into the Chelsea dressing room, over this past couple of months? That type of sort of struggle, do you think if it was, more harmonious, do you think he'd be any more likely to come off?
I don't think so. It's just one of those where you get cramped before the shootout. If you're a goalkeeper, you want to stay on, didn't you? I don't know if that's got anything to do with what's happened recently. I don't think Kepa's one of those who's kicked up a fuss in training. We haven't heard much about him, so I think it's just relevant to this final. But even so, it was a disgrace, I thought.
Yeah.
And in answer to your question, what do they do with him? Yes, it's difficult. He's the world's most expensive goalkeeper, as you say. It's not like just some youngster or some 10, 20 million pound player. He's the most expensive ever. So it's difficult to know what to do. I'd drop him if I was sorry. I'd drop him for the foreseeable future. Caballero's a decent goalkeeper. He's not the best in the league, but he's okay.
Yeah.
As a second choice. You can't allow him to play the next game, surely.
No, well, you'd think, wouldn't you now?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think that does to the mentality of the team as well? Because obviously to that point, Chelsea's performance was really, really disciplined, really robust, really strong. They held out, they grew in confidence. They sort of put a really mature performance in contrast to their last performance. So do you think that had any effect before the shootout when they've been really disciplined, really, really, working hard, arguably... might have been the better performing team from the sort of second half onwards. Yeah. And then it kind of falls apart a little bit. What do you think? Do you think that has a major impact on the shootout for them as a team? Or
you could say they were distracted. I mean, you need to be fully focused for a penalty shootout. Obviously, it's all mental. It's not necessarily physical. It's all in the mind.
Yeah.
Like the pressure and doubt and so on. I mean, you've got to be fully focused. They're clearly distracted. Even when the final whistle went. It clearly weren't right, and especially as a goalkeeper, you have to be fully focused. You've got to watch the ball and make decisions, try and make the save. So, I don't think it helped them whatsoever.
Yeah, and I guess it went. We obviously go into the actual shootout at that point as well. And I think the one thing I did notice actually, how Sarri sort of regained his composure quite well, because obviously from all that sort of freaking out, which you can understand, he did actually come back into the team circle and sort of, get into it and have a bit of a... He didn't sort of single out Kepa and go mental. He just got back into the sort of circle and just tried to get everyone going again. Pedro was trying to get people going. Azpilicueta was trying to get people going. Obviously, City, in contrast, were already doing their team talk.
Harmonious, weren't they?
Yeah, it's a little bit different, but Sarri obviously sort of was able to regain some composure quickly to just try and get the team back onto the shootout, didn't he? Which was good.
Well, I don't think Jorginho listened because he took the first penalty and it was an absolutely shocking penalty.
Terrible.
He had a decent game, Jorginho, but my God, what a terrible penalty.
He thought he was a gazelle.
Yeah, a gazelle or like a high jumper in the Olympics. Just like jumped really high just before he was about to take the shot. You're not going to get any power on it. It was nowhere near the corner. Edison could have just thrown his cap on it. If he had a cap on it, he could have just gone like that and saved it.
Powerless.
Yeah, so that was not a good start. Gundogan makes it 1-0. Good penalty. Azpilicueta, the captain, fantastic penalty. Right in top corner. That's what you want from your captain. But this next one, by Aguero, Kepa should have saved it.
Well, he definitely wanted to save that penalty, didn't he? Because he came up to Aguero, he was talking to him when he was back in...
I think he wants to save all of them, to be fair.
Yeah, it seems like he had a personal pride, because the rest of it, if you watch, like when he was talking to Aguero, when he went back to the line, he was pointing at the ground, he was talking to him, he was jumping left and right, he was trying to G him up, and he was disappointed when he didn't save it. The other ones, he might have talked to him when he went up to him, but he wasn't shouting at him on the line, he was pointing down at the ground.
I think the penalties were better, really. Aguero's wasn't a great penalty, but Kepa got a bit of it, but he dived over it, really.
Yeah,
I think he should have saved it.
It squirmed through, didn't it?
Emerson made it 2-2.
Good penalty as well, Emerson.
That was decent. But Kepa sort of redeemed himself. He saved the one by Sane. He saved it to his right hand side. That was pretty good.
Yep, good save.
But just when you think Chelsea are back in it, David Luiz
up steps
off his long run up, he hits the post.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a risk, isn't there, with the penalty like that. When you're running at it from that distance, you're obviously going for power, but you haven't got the same level of control, I'm assuming. So it just looked a little bit erratic, didn't it? It was a good quick run up, but it was just side-footed to the post.
Yeah, he hit it well, but unfortunately the direction was just a bit off.
Yeah, side-footed.
Bernardo Silva, good pen down the middle, 3-2. Eden Hazard. What courage that was to chip it down the middle.
Cool and calm as you like.
You need to take a penalty and score to keep your side in the shootout, and he just chips it down the middle.
Yep.
Just summed up what a great game he had. Unfortunately for him, he was on the losing team. And then Raheem Sterling.
Home turf.
What a brilliant penalty, just off the crossbar, underside the crossbar.
Good
to win it 4-3 on penalties for City.
Yeah, so it was quite the dramatic cut, wasn't it? I guess before we summarise it, I want to ask you something about the penalty shootout, because I know I mentioned this to you before we started shooting. But the penalty takers, Man City, kind of what you expected. I'm assuming, good strong penalty. For me, I found it quite a bizarre line-up for Chelsea's penalty shoot takers, but I'd like to hear what you think about it, because I was quite bewildered, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think, and the order as well, which I was a bit surprised at. They had 3 defenders take penalties.
Yeah.
Azpilicueta.
If Ederson had saved all of them, you wouldn't have ever got any of your strikers to take a penalty.
Azpilicueta, Emerson, albeit they scored their penalties, and Luiz, so 3 defenders, Jorginho, and the number 1 penalty taker, Hazard, he scored his, but he put his first, wouldn't you? Yeah,
well, they had Higuain on, they had Hazard on. I don't know what Hudson-Odoi's penalty taking abilities are like, or Loftus-Cheek, but you had more attacking minded players still there.
Yeah.
You still had Conte. I know Conte is obviously more of a holding midfielder, defensive mid, but they're sort of players
especially Higuain, I like to think.
Yeah, you take I would assume you put your number 1 striker to take your first penalty.
Or at least take one of the 5.
Yeah. Or I would have expected, if they cancelled Caballero out, thought they would have brought Giroud on maybe for someone, just for the shootout. Just the last knockout, because he usually buries penalties. So maybe Chelsea shot themselves a little bit in the foot there. Maybe it was a little bit bewildering, but they probably know what...
It's a lottery, isn't it, at the end of the day. Yeah. I think Chelsea, on the whole, they played a good final.
Yep.
I thought it'd be closer than what the league game was. But it was so closer than last season's final when City beat Arsenal 3-0. Could have been 6-0.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was goalless, but plenty of incidents. City have won their first trophy of the season. They retain the trophy.
That's the first one for a Man City manager ever, right? As well.
Yeah, to retain a
Title.
domestic trophy. So they won at their best today, City, but they've got over the line.
Yeah.
The first of a potential quadruple.
That's what champions do, isn't it? They win ugly sometimes. He's not always the better team. Sometimes you have to win ugly.
Yeah, exactly. So, City, their first of the season, first trophy. And for Chelsea, well, I think Sol is still under pressure. I know they played well today, but with this Kepa situation, you could say things are getting bad to worse. Be interesting to see how this plays out over the next few days.
Do you think that'll undermine their performance a little bit? I guess it will in the media, obviously, but in general, do you think that'll undermine their performance today, the discipline?
That's what people will talk about, I think. We're talking about it, haven't we? So, the performance is much improved, so, against the top sides, that's probably a template they should try and follow. Obviously, they beat City at home in the league. So I think Somewhere's listened a little bit. The formation was the same, but the discipline they showed and tactically it was slightly different today. So remains to be seen how they play going forward.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed that final. Well, I hope you did as well.
Yeah, it was great fun. Really good fun.
So thanks for joining us, Luke.
No, thanks for having us again.
We'll see you next time. All right.
Brilliant.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.